Hello and welcome to this session of Industry Suppliers. I'm delighted to introduce you to Nathanael, who works on the sales team within the travel vertical at Flywire and works within our accommodation providers in the short-term corporate and student housing sectors. When he's not working, Nathanael enjoys reading and spending time with his dog, Tim. And we want to know more about the dog, Tim, in a second. But Nathanael, thank you very much for being part of us of the session today. And thank you also for all the support you're giving ASAP at the moment.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, James, so much. A lot of good things going on with that partnership, and excited to be here this morning to talk to you about Flywire.
Oh, that's great. So tell us a little bit about Flywire then, and what it is the business is and what it specializes in, and how, of course, our members can get involved.
Yeah, of course. So Flywire, we consider ourselves a global payments company. So we serve four primary verticals in the space. So we look at education, of course, travel, the team I sit on, B2B, and healthcare as well. So the kind of core offering Flywire has is that we combine, vertical specific software, whether that's the invoicing, the ability to split payments into multiple installments, and so on, with our payments network. And really what that does is drive a ton of value for our clients that use it and let their guests pay them in their local currency, no matter where they are in the world. So today we work with about 600 plus clients in our travel vertical. Those are folks, as you mentioned at the top of the call, corporate accommodations, short-term rentals, as well as inbound tour operators and DMCs as well.
And of course, we all know things are getting more expensive, and that, of course, includes payments. Not only expensive, but also complex. How do you break that down? How can you break that down for us to understand a bit more about it?
Yeah, totally. So maybe on the plus side, as we're coming out of the COVID crisis, right, that's fantastic to see people are traveling more, which is always great. But as we see all that international travel pick back up, for our clients, that means a lot more international payments coming through. So as you mentioned, international payments, especially for our clients, tend to be large, complex types of payments. Certainly not a regular commerce payment where I'm just kind of swiping my card at the grocery store, right? And so as a result of that, some of the folks that are part of your network and have international clients probably know this, but to the expense piece, right, there's really a couple different things that come through with an international payment. And so if you think about it, it's the acquirer's margin or their markup. So think of folks like Stripe or PayPal that have to, earn their money. There's also separate credit card scheme fees. So Visa, MasterCard, Amex, whomever else has certain scheme fees in place. There's the interchange fees that we see that kind of vary depending on the country that payer is originating from. Then on top of all of that, these guys are then going to pay international card fees as well. So as you mentioned, right, it's very expensive for international cards to be processed today. Certainly our clients feel that a lot, but they're also then having to spend more time ordinarily than we'd like to do things like manual reconciliation, cash flow management. Hey, where's this payment from X client who sent a bank transfer to us? So you combine all of that, right? It's the time, it's the money it takes to process these payments. And we like to say that our clients aren't payment experts, nor should they be. So that's why a lot of them turn to Flywire to help kind of just run that process for them digitally. And then they can focus on what they do best, is providing an excellent guest service.
And just focusing on that complexity then, how do you do that? How do you solve that problem?
Yeah, for sure. So really the core of Flywire, our sort of North Star, what we believe here is that software drives a ton of value in payments for our clients. So I touched on this above, but if you look at Flywire, right, we do have vertical specific software that serves our clients. So we look at someone like the short-term accommodation space. Sometimes they have guests that want to split this up into installments. They want to pay 1 month at a time. So having the software to be able to kind of facilitate those payments in a way to break them up into installments without the client having to manually go and email you or me, James, and say, hey, it's month 2, send us the next payment. On top of that, really, the software that we've built sits on top of Flywire's payment network. And that's really what drives a ton of value for our clients, is that we've spent the better part of 10 plus years building out this payment network. And what that looks like is local card acquirer agreements, local agreements with processors, local bank accounts. And what that does is remove a lot of the complexity for our clients. So very simply, we kind of have domestic payments in, domestic payments out, so that their guests, no matter where they are in the world, can pay them in local domestic currency. And then that will come through fully reconciled within their account in pretty short time as well.
And presumably then there is a difference between that and a bank transaction or a card processor. How do you expand on that? I mean, how do you draw the difference between the two?
Yeah, for sure. So, we've heard it a couple of times, right? People who see Flywire and say, oh, you're just a card processor, right? So Flywire, if you look at us, we're not a bank nor a traditional card processor. It all kind of goes back to what I mentioned about we have really two things that make us unique is the software that sits on top of our payments network. And of course, that payments network that we've built out. So if you look at, the typical card processor, they don't have maybe the breadth and the reach of the payments network that we've built out. And again, that is the local piece there that makes it so unique for us is having those local relationships, those entities on the ground where we enable their guests, no matter where they are, to pay in that local domestic currency through familiar options, whether that's credit cards, bank transfers, PayPal. Ordinarily, it would take, a client to have to go set up separate merchant agreements with all these folks. And through one solution with Flywire, they're able to access all of that and then give those payment optionalities to their guests as well.
Wow, that's really interesting. And how can our members find out more specifically about their needs, and how can they get in touch with you if they need to?
Yeah, totally. So, James, you have my email, so we can share that out with the guests that want to email directly if they have any questions. If they did want to kind of just learn more about Flywire, you can just go to flywire.com under the travel industry section and, read up on some case studies of other clients we have or submit an assessment request. And we're happy to kind of sit down, walk through your business and see how we can help out.
Fantastic. Well, Nathanael, thank you very much for your time. Thank you again for all the support you're giving us. And
yeah, absolutely.
Look forward to hearing how things progress for you. Thank you.
Totally. Thank you, James.